Hi guys, I'm back. It's Mrs. Rains. I'm here with another sermon notes. I wanted to kind of come at you guys today to talk to you about what's going on with King David. We left off a while back. I know it's been a while since my last sermon notes, but this comes to you from 2 Samuel chapter 6 verses 1 through 23. I'll leave all of the verses and references down in the description box, but this is the February 19th sermon. I won't have a sermon notes up next week because I'm teaching, but I will do kind of a lesson notes if you guys are interested. If you are interested in that, please thumbs up or leave me a comment down below. But here we're seeing David is trying to do some kingly things. Of course, he's trying to move the Ark of the Covenant. If you start back in Exodus chapter 25 and you read through verses 10 to maybe 22, you see where the ark is supposed to be carried in a very specific way. David casts all that into the wind. He gives the order. The priest Abinadab then has his sons Uzzah and Ahio go ahead and move the ark. Of course, Uzzah meaning strong and Ahio meaning friendly, they think, oh, well, we'll be just, get the strong men and we'll all just put this thing on a cart and get it down here. Because they were thinking like non-believers. This is the fastest way to move something is put it on a cart and have an oxen pull it. Well, that's not the way God prescribed. He wanted it carried with acacia poles through gold rings that are on the side of the ark. So, of course, these guys do it the wrong way and they pay the price. So, David at this point in his life is seeing himself not just as a king, but as a worship leader. He's writing the Psalms. He's doing all this. He gets this band and gets them to perform on the way, from the Kiriath Jearim era all the way all the way into the city of David. So he wants this band performing. It's a lot of pomp and circumstance. They actually build a brand new cart. My guess is they probably get a nice strong oxen to pull it. Well, guess what happens? The oxen stumbles, the ark slides, Uzzah reaches out to grab it to keep it from falling, and he dies instantaneously. David goes from a range of emotions from being angry at the Lord for striking him down to being afraid of the Lord and wanting him to not strike him down. So, of course, they send this ark into somebody's house, a Gittite, and they're like, dude, we'll just leave it here. David's not afraid to move this ark. Well, what happens is this ark stays at this guy's house for 3 whole months, and the dude is completely blessed. His household is blessed. All the people in his household are blessed. David hears about this, and he's like, look, it's time to move the ark. Now, he does dress down his homeboys. He's like, look, Abinadab, you did this the wrong way, man. Yeah, I gave you the order, but you should have brought it the way that you're supposed to bring it. So although he takes responsibility for giving the order, he also forces them to take responsibility for not doing what they're supposed to know how to do. I mean, they're the priests. They should know better. We see that even today where politicians try to make laws to tell priests what to do. Priests and preachers, whatever, bishop, whatever you call your pastor, the law is trying to tell him what to do, who he can marry, who can be here or there, who he can put in leadership. I mean, there's all types of laws out there. And I'm telling you right now, it shouldn't be that way. It should be the other way around. So now you have a situation where the ark has to be moved. This time they do it the right way, and they bring the ark into the city of David. David's rejoicing. He's dancing. He's having a good time. Not only does he rejoice and dance in front of the people, but he feeds them all. He gives them all these fresh cakes of fig and all this other stuff, and they all eat from the least to the greatest. Because why? Because your worship should be inclusive, not exclusive. He included everyone that was around that day. Michael looks out the window. She sees David. He's dancing up a storm. He's having him an entire hootenanny, okay? His robe flies open. She's immediately despising him. The Bible says she despised her own husband. She confronts him on it. How dare you dance in front of the Lord and show off your goodies to the servant girls? He was like, look, I love the Lord with all my heart. I hope that he humbles me in that way from now on out. So David's basically saying, I love the Lord. I really don't care what you're saying. Michael's so distracted by this that she distracts herself out of worship with the Lord, fellowship with the Lord. She distracts herself from having the love of her husband because the Bible tells us her reward for this behavior, she ended up bearing the rest of her life. In fact, Proverbs 21:9 says, it's better to live on the corner of a rooftop than to live with a quarrelsome, some versions say contentious woman. You don't want to be with a woman that wants to fight all the time. To me, as a wife, that's a challenge. Do not drive your husband to the rooftop because in this day and age, he will jump, okay? I know that I have the ability to speak life into my husband or to speak death into my husband. And I don't want to be that wife speaking death into her husband, because that he lives, I live too indeed. You know why? Because we are now one. We are together. We are one. And if I put him in a bad mood and he retaliates and puts me in a bad mood, we're both sitting there in a bad mood unnecessarily. So, we have a lot of things touched upon in this little lesson. It's not a very long chapter, but it's long enough for you to kind of get, I'm sorry, it's not a long chapter, a lot of verses, but it's enough to get a good feeling about what you should do and should not do. The point of this lesson is you should do things the way God prescribes. God gave them, exactly how they should move the ark, and they went against what God had to say. So, of course, they paid the price. And we keep saying David's family. They keep on, I guess the descent in his family keeps on growing. And Michal she's not really mad at David. She's lashing out at him because really she's mad at God. Her father's dead. All her brothers have been killed. She was taken away from the house of her second husband, whom she lived with for 10 years. She was angry about that. She's angry that she no longer, she's living this life, but she comes from royalty. And even though she's still living in a royal life, being the wife of a king, she's still not satisfied. She's dissatisfied with her life. She's angry. She's God has allowed these things to happen in her life, and she's angry about it. She's not angry with David. She's angry with God, and she's cut herself off from fellowship with him. And we don't want to do that as believers. We don't want to cut ourselves off from fellowship with him. He never disfellowships us. It's always us who allow sin to get in the way and build a wall between us and God. So it's a lot of information, good stuff to talk about, to be reminded of. I hope you enjoyed these sermon notes, and if you would, please, please, please subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell if you want to be the first to be able to see these videos. I would love to know what you think in the comments down below, so please leave a comment. I love to interact and have a conversation about this particular sermon notes. So if you haven't had a chance to, go ahead and read 2 Samuel chapter 6 verses 1 through 23. It's a good read. You can kind of get an idea. Like, the Bible is action-packed. I don't know why people think it's antiquated or boring. I'm a Bible fanatic, so I really feel like if you really sit down and read it, it reads like a wonderful, wonderful novel if you really take the time to go through and get to know the characters and get to know the people involved. And then when you realize all of this stuff really happened because this is God's truth, the history of man, it's pretty cool. So again, put God at the head of all you do. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.